Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Academy. My name is TJ, and we have one of the most exciting matches of, well, Academy so far, in my opinion. It is Dignitas taking on 100 Thieves. Now, if you're looking in the draft and you're going, what on earth has happened to 100 Thieves lineup, particularly their bot lane? It seemed to be of their own making, which is what's most curious to me. 100 Thieves spent the entire pick ban getting rid of all of the supports, like they were hard targeting Ole. And then Ole said, okay, grabbed Breezy's star pick, which has been this Rakan, and all of a sudden, we're in this wild position where they have a Senna Ornn bot lane. Senna in the support position, over with Breezy. Prismal picking up that Ornn as, I guess, a bot laner. Dignitas have, by contrast, a very standard draft. This is basically what they've been slamming people with all season long. They are, as yet, undefeated. This 100 Thieves side should be the team that is most likely to knock them down off their podium. This 100 Thieves side, of course, is the defending Academy champions. They have a lot of LCS players on their team, but I didn't expect it to start like this. The invade works out. I will give them that credit. You also, of course, have the Olaf for contracts, who's been a little bit dicey. I was running the numbers. He has the most deaths for any team with a winning win rate in Academy. But they've also got that winning win rate off the back of his sometimes over-aggression. So him versus Acadian on this Olaf Rek'Sai matchup is going to be something to keep an eye on. I was just trying to think through how this Breezy Prismal bot lane works. And I think it plays to counter one of the things 100 Thieves have struggled with so far this season, where it's felt like oftentimes you get to the midpoint of the game, and they've lost so much during the early game that they have no way back. The Ornn will give them more potential to get through the mid-late game, I guess. Spitballing. There's got to be a reason for it, and I'm excited to find out why. That is why you watch the Academy, I suppose. Here's Acadian up for the top lane. Fake God, actually. In a lot of trouble here. Chained back in by the Infernal Chains, and that will be first blood. Tossed over to Dignitas as they hit things off well. This is what I was talking about when I said the early game control consistently doesn't go the way of 100 Thieves. They lose these early game fights. Acadian does get caught out here. Salido's in the area as well, and they're chasing him. Well over the wall with the undertow connected. That will be a trade right back, and my words, eaten. As 100 Thieves managed to find a quick return. So this is already better than many of their previous performances. For contracts, he's gotten an advantage over Dignitas' star jungler. Acadian's been tearing up the Academy League so far, so just contracts managing to already get the buffs off him on the jungle path tank. He's about to triple buff him if all goes to plan. And get an early kill on him is massive. I think they'll take that for the top lane presence they got any day of the week. I was fascinated kind of as a watermark, you know. I've been saying, oh, Dignitas win early game, especially compared to 100 Thieves. The watermark for that, let's use, is Drakes. Over the course of this season, the first Drake, 33% of the time, 100 Thieves win the first Drake of the game. 100% of the time, Dignitas win the first Drake of the game. Just to give you some context as to how aggressive they are. Oh, that's good. Gravitum in, Breezy knocked up. That's dangerous now as Phoenix has followed a little bit too far forward, but Ole's just diving. He goes for the kill and he will get it, as now Prismal's in trouble. Or not the highest mobility character, strangely enough, and struggling to be able to deal with the backline pressure that this Rakan can offer. Ole just able to get into melee range versus Breezy and burst him down. I'm still not buying it. The Ornn Senna lane. I said during the draft, 100 Thieves banned all of the supports. They literally did. Let me pull it up. They got rid of Thresh, Tom Kench in their first cycle. Then we got to the second cycle. There was no support picked up by Dignitas. So they then banned Leona and Nautilus. And I was fascinated because they, like, hovered Braum. And I kind of thought they were going to run Braum Senna. And then Dignitas, I guess, just intimidated them enough that they went, okay, we'll go with the Ornn. Or maybe it was all the plan. I can't count that out. So early game. So far, so good for Dignitas. 100 Thieves do get a word in edgewise with that pick onto Acadian. I think Contracts versus Acadian is a very easy way to keep track of this matchup as we go through it. So do keep your eye on it. Right now, Contracts dominating him in CS, which, by the numbers, he doesn't do very often. He's actually got a gold deficit in the differential at 15 minutes. If you look at him over the course of the season, you get to that 15-minute mark, and he's normally, on average, 50 gold behind his opposing jungler. So the fact that he's dominating in CS, found an early kill, is a really good sign for 100 Thieves. And Dignitas is streaking. The bot lane, I still don't understand. Here's that first Drake of the game. As you can see, the impact of it. Prismal and Breezy can't play as aggressive as a normal bot lane. So they're shoved back. They're playing underneath their turret. And Dignitas say, okay, well, we'll take this Drake if you don't mind us. And Dignitas will walk away with it in front of Drake. 7 minutes. No contest for 100 Thieves. Contracts does get work done elsewhere. He's still power farming on this Olaf, which is good to see. But big fan of the impact that an Olaf can have. But it's gotta outweigh the presence of this Drake. And it's not been just the early game Drakes that 100 Thieves and Contracts don't prioritize. They've also not gotten Rift Heralds. The average amount of Rift Heralds they get per game is like 0.6. Which, spoiler alert, is less than 1 Rift Herald. So, I want to see 100 Thieves have a solid something out of their early game presence, because otherwise this bot lane's just going to get bullied. And Phoenix is going to walk into the late game as a Feather Felios. There's the dive. Ole behind the turret. Breezy very low. I think this is far too far, but Phoenix finds the pick. And they've got Acadian in the area as well, and Prismal's just trapped here. Call the Forge God will come through. Does stun up Ole and Phoenix, but they've got the turn. No trouble at all. The Chakram just chunking away at Prismal's HP. And there was no way it went any other way. Early game Ornn's not going to be able to blow up that duo. He's building relatively defensive. If there's damage from this bot lane, it's going to have to come from Breezy, I guess. On that Glacial Augment. Okay, this is good. Just talking about that, just complaining about that. Here's 100 Thieves, finding map presence, finding control of the Rift Tower. Chucking down the first one of the game. I know there's been some debate in the community about what the second Rift Herald is called. I'd like to take this moment on this platform to nominate that the first Rift Herald is called Shelly, then the second Rift Herald ought to be called Sheldon. Thank you very much. And I am excited to see if 100 Thieves will be able to get Shelly and Sheldon this game. They have themselves the first opportunity to undo the damage that's being done down in their bot lane. But one of my other problems is I don't see where 100 Thieves emphasize their focus. Right, you have Rift Herald, traditionally you use that, oh, hold this thought, Breezy in the bot lane. There's just no way out of this. Ole and Acadian absolutely destroy him, and Prismal burns his TP to escape. That was an incredibly swift rotation through the bot lane. And it underscores my point. If you do play this Rift Herald, if you do something aggressive with it, get the gold, where do you put it? I guess the answer is top lane? Fake God's Renekton? But I don't think that's going to win you a game. Here's Acadian once more in the mid lane. Prismal pops the Unstoppable just to make sure he doesn't get CC'd. Saligo will go in here. Poking forward This is good for 100 Thieves to hold strong, but it just gives an excuse for Dignitas to lead. Join this top lane where the Rift Herald has just been summoned. Contracts and Fake God. Oh, both hit by the Equalizer. Contracts is shut down, and Fake God's trying to kite back Dignitas behind the turret. There's no way he escapes, and the tempo of this game is going terribly for 100 Thieves. Down in the bot lane, though, they get something back. Breezy and Prismal finally make a case for whatever this bot lane is, as they connect a route onto Phoenix and shut down the Dignitas AD carry, who is getting worryingly big. So great, solid, fantastic work. Cannot sing your praises enough. But all 100 Thieves are doing right now is damage control. The damage onto the turret they got up top is quickly negated by the fact that Fake God had to die for it. There's just no way to look at this map and say it's going well for 100 Thieves. Dignitas, maybe you can make a case for if 100 Thieves last till late game, their team fights are terrifying. Dignitas, though, have pretty solid late game scale of their own. You know, you get the Aphelios going, as he currently is. You have Rumble, who's not infinitely scaling, but definitely solid come late game. And I just don't see the case for this lineup. But I guess I'm here to have it made to me. Here is your Mountain Drake coming up in just a few moments. Contracts engages Olay in the river. They should know Dignitas are pushing forward for this, but at a deficit like they currently are, I don't think 100 Thieves can properly fight this. Lean in for it now. Control wards being cleared out. Prismal on the horn, by the way, rotating up from the bottom side of the map, just to kind of concentrate 100 Thieves in the area. The only people not here are the two solo laners, Fake God and Lord. Both of them do have their TPs now, so they can join this fight should it get spicy. Acadian now running from Contracts. Here we go. Call of the Forge God will be deployed. First TP in, that's Lorlo. Fake God's already here. The Equalizer's deployed, but it's not in time. First blood for this fight. Over to 100 Thieves, and Acadian's called out as well, as he will join Phoenix on the grey screen. This is devastating for Dignitas. I didn't think there was a hope, but the case has now been made as Sunfire Cape is completed. First item for Prismal. He has a massive impact on that team fight. Call the Forge God, the perfect setup. Fake God arcs in from the bottom of the map. And I'm a believer again. Bot lane horn. Here come 100 Thieves with a Mountain Drake to their name, keeping the Drake trades even. And that is big for a team that doesn't get a lot of objective control. For a team that typically plays long, weird games. I'm quite happy to see them getting a word in early, especially against a team like Dignitas, who have been dominant. I was doing my prep for this match. This is basically an LCS match with a couple of subs, because so many people in this game have played in the LCS. We have 3 players who have been to Worlds. Like, I don't think there's ever been a more qualified match of Academy. The whole Dignitas team has been, I think the correct word is smurfing this season. So just seeing them get challenged is exciting in and of itself, as it stands with that Drake pickup. 100 Thieves are behind, but still in this game. They're still playing. I will note, though, they've lost that bot lane rather terribly. Prismal and Breezy rotate up top. And off the back of the lane swap, they will be able to get a turret. That's important for the upcoming contest over Sheldon, the Rift Herald. Coming in just a few moments. Dignitas are aware of this and rotating up for it. Here's Olay on to Contracts, who's more than willing to turn and fight, and scares away Olay. Didn't want none of it. Breezy and Prismal were rotating down. Because they got that turret up top, they have all this extra room to kind of navigate, set themselves up. 100 Thieves are going to be hard pressed to defend. I think Dignitas still win a fair team fight, but what we saw last fight, I think, demonstrates the downsides of the Dignitas approach to fights. They're normally so coordinated, but if a Ornhorn can take out half your team, if the TP from Fake God is that well set up, it still can suffer quite an ugly loss. All right, Sheldon's on the map, and 100 Thieves have drifted away from that Rift Herald. Now they begin to shift back up, allowing Dignitas to start it and collapse, maybe. 7k HP on the Rift Herald. 100 Thieves uninterested. Decline to participate in the Crab Feast. And it will be Dignitas grabbing that second Rift Herald of the game. An important objective for them, as it establishes their control. I think nails it down a little bit when it was looking dicey. So really, where are we going over on the 100 Thieves side? They have Breezy, they have Prismal from this bot lane, and if you were going to try Ornn in the bot lane, this is like, I believe in this. It's either Senna or Sony, right? Have the damage that can scale from your support. Maybe buys you the time. But I'm not on board with its impact in team fights so far. I want to see much more of a case made than one good wombo combo, most of which I think was Fake God on the TP. Rather two. Dignitas have had an incredibly quick game time this season so far. A lot of their games kind of decided by the dominance of their early game. I have to find the quote. There was an interview that Demonte did, where he said, hold it, there we go. They want to, quote, 420 swag YOLO all over Academy. I don't speak Demonte, but they have something to prove. They want to demonstrate, as a team, I think, not just Demonte, that they maybe don't belong all the way down here. This is the pace that they've been setting so far in Academy. One win after another, none of them looking terribly close. 100 Thieves have been struggling a little bit more with their losses this season, but they definitely looks like they have their share of veterans. Although Contracts, who at one point, you know, was rookie of the split and celebrated LCS player, has looked at times like one of the weaker parts of this 100 Thieves lineup, which definitely is a worrying sign. I want, you know, on point, 100% Contracts. Here we go for the Cloud Drake. Contracts will be taking point, leading off the skirmish here. 100 Thieves will call in the call to Forge God, and there it is. Double impact. Ole and Acadian both knocked down. The Infernal Chains were deployed kind of for an engage from Lorlo, but he didn't want to spend it. Didn't want to go all in on the fight when they didn't have the positioning advantage. Now they do. 100 Thieves split. Dignitas can work their way back into the river with the grand entrance. Ole chimed with the equalizer. They've got so much damage. Daunting Shadows right there in response, though. And 100 Thieves answer the flash ulti combo with an ultimate of their own. That will keep everyone safe. Nobody goes for a fight off of it. And the skirmish continues. Now Contracts wants to get in there. Prismal misses his charge, though. He's burned down by Lorlo. That's not how you want to start a fight. And I don't think 100 Thieves can contest this Drake anymore. Low mobility Ornn, not quite as tanky as you'd expect. Gets shut down by Lorlo on the front lines. Well, an entire team burning into him. He also had taken that damage from Equalizer a few moments ago. And there you have it. Second Drake to Dignitas, the third of the game. Working their way back up. 100 Thieves still able to contest. Doing a much better job, and I noticed this in some of their earlier games. Things would kind of spiral out of control when they started losing. And then they'd be able to make a case for themselves in the late game, in the games that they lost. But it would take them a while to get there. This is already looking better to me than that, because things did not go great at the start of this match. But 100 Thieves are managing to answer back, play for these objectives, and critically, when they've lost them, when Prismal's getting burned down on this wild Ornn pick, they're turning tail and running, which is sometimes the best call, and definitely the hardest call to make as a team. Dignitas' shot calling has seen no such flaws. All Academy seasons so far, their shot calling's actually been wonderful. So often identifying their win condition and just accelerating towards it. And I will say, it doesn't feel that directed this game. Maybe one small upside of the Ornn bot lane. They weren't quite sure what to do. And they did bully the Ornn bot lane, but they're not going to take the Ornn out of the game. They're not going to kill the Ornn to the point where they're not going to be relevant late game. That's not what you do to Ornns. So they didn't earn a game-ending advantage during their early game, which seems like a low bar, but it is one that so many teams that play Dignitas failed to clear. And now we have well and properly reached the mid-game. 21 minutes on your in-game clock. There's 100 Thieves so far are still in this. Oh, like with the grand entrance, challenges my statement. Moonlit Vigil did get stasis, but the equalizer landed, and there's 2 more kills to Dignitas as Demonte and Phoenix blow up the mid lane. This will be a turret as well. Contracts and 100 Thieves just have to fall away. Fake God on the flank here if he should want to. If Dignitas should want to challenge, maybe Fake God could have made something out of it, but they're not going to make that kind of mistake. They back away and say, hey, this has just secured us at least control of this Baron pin. And one of the star things about Dignitas, 2 of the stars, to be precise, have been Phoenix and Ole. I've loved watching them play this season. They've been playing for so long. They started in Korea, both of them in like 2013, 2014. And they've been playing since then. Both of them have reached international competition, and getting to see them here in Academy has felt like a crime. Because they've been destroying a lot of the bot lanes they've played into. This was certainly no exception, and they may have been a bit confused by the act of destroying it. Phoenix, if we're being particular, has taken his fair share of deaths this game. I'm just watching this carefully because Contract's kind of hovering here. It's clear that they know this Baron is up and know they ought to be doing something about it, but don't know what Dignitas are up to. Dignitas are quite alright with this state of affairs. Just pressing their map advantage elsewhere. It's going to be Demonte shoving the bot lane. He's now coming up towards mid. In the meantime, 100 Thieves are kind of getting compressed backwards. So Contracts is having to fight for vision, which is good. I'm liking Contracts doing this. Dignitas, the reason, of course, they're shoving that bot lane, pushing 100 Thieves away from the bottom side of the map is because we do have a Drake in about 40 seconds. They figure nobody's crazy enough to start a Baron fight this early. We sure can secure a free Drake. Whenever you're playing 100 Thieves, a team that's just run Ornn's set of bot lane, though, you have to ask yourself, are they really sane? Are they really not crazy? Can we trust them not to start Baron? What's Ornn Baron take from the bot lane? I have to say I'm disappointed. I thought we'd get spicy here. We'd see Prismo building something, you know, attack speed or something. There we go. Call the Forge God in, flash away from Phoenix. That's dangerous as the black line. Ole's just dove it in. Arcadium there as well, and they're both getting slaughtered. Dignitas don't get what they want. Sure, they shut down Prismal, but they trade 1-for-1 for Ole. 100 Thieves just kind of have that extra tank. They can take these fights. And now Dignitas are missing much of their engage tools. They blew Equalizer in that fight. Right as the Drake comes up, 100 Thieves can still fight this. Here we go. Cloud Drake focused down. The flank from Demonte is there. Oh, okay. Locked down by 100 Thieves. Dignitas in. Will try and win this, and I don't think they've got the damage. Saliga to flash away. Yes, they do. TP is arriving, but Contracts and Saliga will die before it happens. And it's just Prismal right in the middle of the pit as the damage is thrown in by Damonte and Phoenix. What a clean fight from Dignitas. Down some of their ultis, down some of their tanks. It does not matter. Phoenix hovers right at the side of the pit, throws in the damage. Damonte chasing down the stragglers. Here comes Baron. And there's your decisive advantage for Dignitas. All it took was a few weird fights. But 100 Thieves get clean aced right around the first Baron take. Contracts did manage to steal away that Drake for what it's worth. I wouldn't say it's worth much, but for what it's worth, he did manage to steal away that Drake. So if they can survive this Baron, well, I'm not going to say they're on even terms, because they're 6k behind. If they can survive this Baron, and maybe last in scale a little bit longer, I see a dream. A faint one, but a dream nonetheless. This is such a bizarre setup. 100 Thieves playing pretty aggressively here. Like they want to fight this, but they don't have the vision to. They don't know if there's more people in the river by Baron, or at least in that half of the map. And Dignitas do know that there's 100 Thieves setting up for something and drift away. I would have thought, though, if Dignitas go aggressively there, 100 Thieves still can't win a fair fight. So, didn't seem like a very sensible engage, to be honest. That was the call to Forge. Got one catch on it. That's Phoenix. I think he can get away. I don't think you can do anything from this. They do get the turret for their trouble. Not bad at all by 100 Thieves. Eventually got Lorlo tagged down quite a lot as well. Okay. So I may be believing in the Call to Forge God as an extra zoning tool having an impact. Prismal manages to zone away the obvious flank coming in from Lorlo. Gets him a Drake. Even into the Baron, they manage to press forward a bit, and that is worth something. Here comes the Baron empowered push down. And Dignitas want their revenge. Contracts on the flanks will have vision. Turret's just getting burned down though. Prismal, Saliga, Breezy, just hiding behind, trying to stay alive. Well, Dignitas clean up the turret and will be able to back away. There is no firm chase. Drake's good, actually, for 100 Thieves, because they've got a lot of teamfight ultimates. They'll be able to have those on fresh cooldowns. So I'm happy they traded 1-for-1 as of right now. And maybe they have a hope if they keep winning out these fights, these skirmishes. This has been the 100 Thieves way. Strange team fights that somehow win them mid-late game. Quite so strange as this. Acadian on the flank. Fake God hanging out towards the mid-lane. The rest of 100 Thieves just playing defense behind the turret. So, Dignitas not able to find their early game win condition, but they've done quite well in mid. And I kind of was waiting for a response. Here it comes, maybe. Stasis dodges the Dawning Shadow. The Call to Forge God at the engage, and here comes Dignitas. They've got the equalizer, they've got the World Ender, and there's 2 kills instantly over. Contracts and Prismal shut down as 100 Thieves fly back behind their turret. The engages just are not working. Contracts pops the Ragnarok and goes aggressive, running at the full Dignitas side with the Call to Forge God at his back. And of course it doesn't work. Look at the gold difference. Look at the fact that Baron was still in their hands. I have to say, Dignitas would be hard-pressed to drop this game. Does not mean it's impossible. I started watching League of Legends, watching the LPL. So, I've seen stranger things. Fantastic television show. But that's besides the point. So, if you're going to make that miracle case, if you are going to be the strangest thing to happen on the Rift today, I think 100 Thieves' Valentine redemption story probably starts in team fights like they've been trying to win. You use the fact that you have that extra tank, Prismal and Fake God blow up the front line. I just, like, even as I'm saying this, even as I'm hypothesizing it, I don't believe it. I'm not on board. You do have the Orn items starting to come through, the ornaments, as some members of the community have taken to calling them. I think that was, I first heard that from LS in the LCK, who properly accredit beginning it to. And sure, you got the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Sunfire Cape, both powered up for Prismal. It just hasn't seemed to amount to much. I don't think they would have been able to stay in this game for as long as 100 Thieves have if they weren't running Ornn. But I also don't think they'd be in this wild position if they weren't running Ornn. And I do still wonder if that was... if this was a secret strat that they intended on trying the entire time, or if they thought they were going to be able to get Ole away from his comfort base. Breezy's only played Rakan this season. He's really good at it, but all of his star performances have been on Rakan. There's not a whole lot of data for him. So if you're going to counterpick, if you're going to ban, target ban, if you're doing your research on Dignitas, as they certainly are, then you're aware that the only thing left in the pool during the pick ban phase was the Rakan, and if you take it away, then Breezy's down one of his favorite picks. So I just don't quite believe in the logic of it. It has to have been a secret strategy because it's too absurd to have tried to ban out the entire pool except for Rakan and then not pick the Rakan quickly. Ole crushes the mid lane. There's the grand entrance equalizer combo. Yet again, it is perfect. Here comes the Call of Forge God and the Dawning Shadow for the turn. They're good. Dignitas actually instantly lose Demonte. Demonte for contracts. A relatively even trade to start the skirmish. 100 Thieves will take that, particularly given how difficult that fight looked when it started. I don't know how many times now grand entrance into equalizer has just been perfect. But that was another one of those times. 3 people tanked by both abilities. And all of a sudden, 100 Thieves are running away, and then they realize, wait, we've got the ultimates as well. Dawning Shadow burns down the front lines. Golden Forge Gun keeps them locked down. Get into the action. Find the kills. But they're only coming from their Olaf right now. With contracts down, there's no contest for this Baron for sure. Here's Soling. Here's Ligo in the area. Prismal nearby. Soligo and Prismal, of course, cannot contest. So they will watch on as the second Baron of the game that does get tossed over to Dignitas. And that's maybe indicative of the problem, one of them, with this comp. The damage is kind of only coming from contracts. Maybe if Soligo had had a stronger time during these fights, we would see the kills balanced out a little bit more. But for now, it's only contracts actually managing to get into the Dignitas lineup, chase down the low HP members. And that's a problem, because Ornn's certainly talking to it. Dignitas with the Baron, shoved down the mid lane, get a little bit of pressure across the map. And now they've got 100 Thieves probably on their back foot. Contracts looking for the chase. Here comes another Call of the Forge God to engage. They've got Lorlo. Kind of. God is doing a lot of work in that sentence. They do not got Lorlo, and in fact, Ole is there on the flank. The Emperor's Divine will be procced, but Soligo's just burned down. Drops into stasis. It will not save him. Lorlo's got the kill, and another equalizer chunks out both Contracts and Breezy as Prismal is focused down in the midst of 2 players. 100 Thieves fight into Baron again. They spent Dawning Shadow and Call the Forge God to chase down an ulting Lorlo. World Ender Aatrox. And you invest 2 ultimates to try and focus him down. Just get a quick pick on the World Ender Aatrox. Now they're in trouble. Contracts one of the members left to defend this said World End Rage Rocks full engages. That's just a very quick kill. 100 Thieves slaughtered underneath their Nexus turrets. The inhibitors aren't even down. You're not allowed to do this, Dignitas. You're not allowed. You gotta wait. There we go. Step back and grab the inhibitors. Do have respawns, so a desperate last attempt is possible. Here comes the Cold Forge God. Full engage is good, but Fake got into stasis right in the middle of this fight. Can't do much. He's gone. Prismal as well. Saligo, the last attempt. Good Emperor's Divide does knock Dignitas towards the fountain, but there's nothing that can be done. And Dignitas keep their perfect record as 100 Thieves. Oh, that didn't look good. So, wonderful time for Dignitas. They seemed almost more confused than anything else. They had their early game, they had their